Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hi. And oh, bonus Enos. Good for Enos. Okay, let me just make sure everything's running properly. Yep, all is well. Surprise, Enos. Like, look at how majestic she is. Like, you go, girl. So pretty. Let's see, what is this? Horn care set. Ah yes, horn care. Only 3 in the afternoon, and the sunlight has already stopped shining on the little store. Aw, the little store. In the gloom, Enos sweeps the last of the broken glass down the steps, then heads back into the shop to sit down. The general store is located halfway up a slope. Anyone who passes by will see it and its bizarre 1.5-step stairs. The place was chosen by Hoderer, who said it was prime real estate and that she'd make her money back quick, but she originally just wanted to go find a container out of the sheds that didn't leak, dump her goods inside, and collect the money at the door, like back in the Scar Market days. But she didn't argue. The war was over for now, and the people returning to Kazdel should also return to their former lives. A proper place to buy things was only the first step. You put the curtain away? Hoderer had tried to lift it out of habit as he walked in. A finger extends out of the shadows, pointing at the ornamental fin bowl on the counter. Multicolored beads from the curtain line its bottom, but there was no fin there, nor any water. It's fine. As long as the beads are still here, I can string them back together. The finger retracts back into the shadows. Hoderer walks to the shelves, picking up the fallen Originium Bob samples, one by one, and placing them back into their box. Then moves on to tidying up the knives. Everything else, he reorganizes by how dangerous they are, and where they were imported from. Once done, he gives it all a once-over. A damp, sticky fluid remains on the floor, the result of someone giving up trying to clean it halfway through. Oh, what a mess! The man walks back to the counter and pulls out a very fortunate 3-legged stool to sit on. From his pockets, he takes out a knife and a piece of wood the size of his hand. By the time Enos finally pulls herself out of her contemplation, he has carved it into an oval. What are you doing? I call it the W-Tato. Doesn't it look like her? Wow! Ah yes, the W-Tato. I want it. Not in the slightest. And you know that's wood, right? Right, because real potatoes would be for eating. And real knives should be for killing. Was that what you were thinking when you said that? When you used a real knife? Was that what you were thinking when you used that real knife of yours to carve your horns? Enos sinks back into silence. Hoderer blows away the wood shavings. To his surprise, there's a faint glimmer accompanying them as they flutter through the air. Hello? Alright, change the topic. What happened earlier? Some people decided this place was their safe house and storeroom. I corrected them, that's all. And the liquid on the ground? Soda. Did they repay you? The woman gives him a look that all but says, "Are you serious?" Hoderer puts down the W-Tato and gropes around in the drawer, pulling out the account book from its depths. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. That's a lot of zeros, Enos. You sure you wrote this down, right? Look where the decimal point is. I'll be honest, I don't think you should be keeping your accounts like this. The numbers aren't wrong. No, it's not. Fine. At least the bowl didn't break right, and no blood was shed. I think you can move the decimal point forward a spot. It was just a bunch of kids who got duped into coming here. They couldn't even tell the bombs from the soda bottles. They just grabbed the box and ran. I tripped them up, but one of them knocked over a shelf, giving the other two a chance to escape. You went easy on them. I was busy saving the fin and its bowl. You can always buy another fin. Going to open up shop tomorrow? Enos steps out of the darkness into the damp spot, looking all around her. Of course, why wouldn't I? The shop's already here. Aww. You know that's actually pretty cute. For a thing called Horn Care Set, I expected more about the horns, but no. It was more slice of life. Holder and Enos are adorable. Dang though, the W-Tato. Now that would be good merch. But yay, shop time. The W-Tato. They better make that the mascot for the store. Like, I think Lizard'll be into it. W-Tato. Too freaking cute. And now for Logos in all of his glory. Beautiful Logos. File. Basic info, codename Logos, gender male, combat experience 12 years. Very impressive. 12 years. Place of birth, Casdell. Date of birth, September 5th. Race, Sarkaz. Height, 178 centimeters. Infection status, confirmed infected by medical examination. Physical exam, physical strength standard, mobility outstanding, physical resilience standard, tactical acumen excellent, combat skill outstanding, Originium arts assimilation. Beep. Oh gosh, I'm still buying skins. I'm biding a little bit of time. I'm doing some story missions that I didn't do earlier. AKA, you know, the other ones that... Besides the free-to-do ones. Because I need more primes. I need more rocks. I want to buy more skins. They're all too beautiful. My main goal is to at least buy all the animated ones, and then afterwards, whatever I have left is bonus. Cries. All animated skins. Like, I know I have Logo, so he is a priority, of course. Profile, Logos, Elite... At least I think I have him. Yeah, I should. Profile, Logos, Elite Caster Operator, Arts Master, and Young Hostess. Hostess? Of the Convalis of the Banshees. Participated in the Casdell Civil War as one of Babel's core members, and became one of the first elite operators of Rose Island. He is credited with establishing the standards and procedures for assessing an operator's Originium arts simulation, the definitive benchmark for predicting future arts potential. His current duties include field command, assessment, and selection of caster operators, and encrypting and deciphering sensitive intel. Ooh. That's fun. I like how he established the standards and procedures. Like, good for him. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests show the indistinct outlines of internal organs, obscured by abnormal shadows, Originium granules detected in the circulatory system. The subject is confirmed to be infected with uropathy. Cell Originium assimilation, 10%. Logos's external symptoms are mild compared to other Casdellian operators, but medical tests tell a different story. Blood Originium crystal density, 0.22. Tests indicate that Logos' condition is more advanced than many veteran Sarkaz ranks. Fortunately, it is now under control thanks to his continuing cooperation with our treatment. The Banshee Prince? He wasn't always so cooperative. I personally see him alter test records with his incantations. Logos, that's cheating! To let others get treated first. Maybe it was out of kindness of his heart. But that's not a trick any patient should play on their doctors. What happened afterward? Well, Dr. Kelsey found out. And the rest, as they say, is history. Anonymous Senior Medic. Oh yeah, did you try for Monster? I'm still trying for Monster. I got another Swire. I was like, what? Swire? Again? Like, tries for Blana, get Swire. Hi, Swire. Tries for Monster, get Swire. Hi, Swire. Oh, 20 pools, nice. But oh my goodness, Swire. If I get her again, I'm gonna cry a bit. And I'll have to just, like, use her. Because clearly, she likes me. Archive File 1. In a recognition test conducted by field operators instructors with 300 reserve operators, more than 60% of respondents identified Logos' picture as a library. 30%, the ones who paid attention in training, identified his ear feathers, and horns as belonging to a rare elder offshoot from the east, which, while not entirely off base, nevertheless misses the mark. Of the less than 20 respondents who accurately identified his race, 5 correctly noted his royal card affiliation, 2 arrived at the answer by guesswork, and another 8 cheated. I love how 8 of them cheated and 2 of them just guessed. This test. Holy cow. Of course, the instructors did not come up with this idea, but Logos himself. One is bound to encounter many of his ideas by spending enough time in Rose Island, such as inserting banshee incantations into sensitive documents to protect their confidentiality. Anyone who attempts to access our secrets and somehow manages to evade, sweep, surveillance, still has to deal with one more than 100 different incantations personally developed by Logos, including ones that melt your eyeballs in their sockets, others that make you forget to breathe, etc. Oh no, not the eyeball melting! How did that expletive banshee cast its incantations on my anti-arch drones? I don't think I've forgotten about that saliva hex. Closure. Saliva hex? What did you make her do? Or what does it do? Does it just like make you drool a bunch? His best ideas, though, are reserved for his arts research. In the past, it was believed that Sarka's witchcraft and modern arts are entirely distinct branches in the history of Originium usage, one being powerful but unruly, bound to bloodlines and rituals, while the other is well-founded in scientific theory and accessible to the many. Logos was unwilling to accept this conventional wisdom at face value, but could not find substantial evidence to the contrary, whether in ancient tomes or modern journals. To his own surprise, though, he found his inspection in a game of riddles with Mechanist. Mechanist had incorporated voice commands into his riddles, requiring the use of voice-activated devices to solve them verbally. When he accidentally solved a riddle by uttering an incantation, Logos realized that the rules and logic of incantations, a form of witchcraft ritual performed through language or music, could perhaps be applied to modern arts as well. With assistance from Pith and Misery, and working through banshee incantations as a test case, Logos successfully extracted the key component of Sarka's witchcraft from modern arts theory: the semantics of rituals, i.e., the caster's definition of goal and cost. The principles are complicated, but the conclusion is simple. He has unlocked brand new possibilities for the application of arts. Any modern arts could theoretically be recreated through witchcraft by designing the proper incantation or ritual, including those used in large-scale industrial production. The converse is also true. It is not outside the realm of possibility that modern methods could be incorporated into the use of witchcraft. According to the core convention, such an important academic breakthrough calls for the publishing of its own book. Perhaps. The time had come for Kazdo to have its own foundational text. When asked, however, the young banshee pondered the question, then said that he would wait until the day Kazdo truly needs it. Aww. Archive File 2. The Golden Forest and Winding Canyon conceal a secret path. There are no forks in the road, and no way back once you tread it. Only the banshees and their honored guests may walk this incantation woven path. Emerge from the path, and you still need to cross a fog-shrouded bridge of white stone, walking through the night until you reach the end of the bridge along with the first ray of dawn. Gaze towards the sunrise, and you will see a stepped balcony wide enough to hold hundreds. Then you may carefully remove the veil the banshees place upon their guests, and see for the first time the spectacular sight of the Convalis. Massive rock structures line the valley walls. Once used to build walls and fortresses, they've been reshaped by witchcraft into flowing shapes that support hanging gardens and overpasses reminiscent of a banshee's dress. It is almost noon, and you could follow the banshees frolicking in the water into the depths of the Convalis to see crystal clear streams converge before our eyes, carrying the banshee's delicate song even further into the Convalis. This sounds beautiful so far. Sun shines upon the golden forests, the reflection of the leaves like flames tamed by the breeze, burning brightly beneath the overflowing colors of the hanging gardens. Do not leave hastily at sunset, even if you fear the sight will consume the rest of your life. Watch as the mistress of the Convalis steps out from her palace dressed in silk like midnight, greeted by a procession of crones. And again, beautiful! The banshees remove their garlands and veils, and sing in response to her song, a dirge for the souls who have passed into the beyond between day and night. This is the Convalis of the Banshees. That is so pretty. want Amiya to be there. She deserves it. The holy cow, I did not expect that collab to be that intense. 2 centuries ago, following the failure of the coalition invasion of Kasdel, Lakura Maline, the Great Banshee, and one of the 6 heroes abandoned the Banshee hold in Kasdel and led the remnants of her court into the valley, to their last abode. Ephania was born to the blessings of his countless sisters and grew up in a garden overlooking the deepest parts of the Convalis, filled with curiosity about Kasdel, the history of the Sarkaz, and the war the 6 heroes fought. He began delving into the old tomes and scrolls of the Sarkaz, even before his 10th birthday. He soon began to doubt his mother's decision to lead their royal court away from Kasdel. If the Banshees could create such a paradise in this valley, why would they abandon their kid in Kasdel? What does the city look like now? Ephaniel felt no joy when he came to the city he had so often dreamed of, searching for the answer on his own. Gazing back at his homeland, he began to see the dilemma of the Banshees and the fragility of the Convalis. He was bewildered by the burning furnace of souls, the crowds beneath the tall smokestacks, and the power games played in the royal courts in the shadows. It was this encounter with Teresa that changed the circumstances of the young Banshee. At Babel, he became Logos and found another vision for Kasdel's future. For a long time, he has refused to talk about the home of the Banshees, considering any reminiscence on the comforts of the Convalis to be the betrayal of his other kin. He will never forget the day he shared his vexation with the old soldiers of Babel, as they sat around a campfire, oblivious to the arrogance of his thinking. Did you think we would envy you, little Banshee? We followed Her Highness in Babel because we wanted a better life. Yeah, just because we lived in Kasdel all our lives doesn't mean we don't deserve to hear stories about something other than war. Tell us more, Logos. Hey, Logos, I heard your people had a special traditional dessert. Wait, special traditional dessert? Can I know more about that too? I want to know what the Banshees are eating, if they have special desserts. And for the first time, Logos spoke of his homeland, the Convalis of the Banshees. Archive File 3. To put it bluntly, the elite operators of Rhodes Island are a bunch of weirdos. Not to say that they're the only weirdos on Rhodes Island, or that they're unqualified in any way. I told you before that our elites are not necessarily peerless warriors, only that they always stand for Rhodes Island at the very front. They must be willing to give everything for a dream, and remain true to this vow even at the worst of times. To cross beyond death and usher in a more just vision. You've worked with most of them by now. You know why they're called weirdos. But let me fill in some details. Blaze often gets her own critical condition noticed from medical because she ends up going into shock multiple times in every high-intensity operation. Stormite tends to get distracted by the prospect of facing powerful foes and needs a no-nonsense partner like Sharp to keep him on track. Misery's dagger tricks are in fact completely unrelated to his arts, and were inspired by a bet between him and Outcast. Mechanus machine oil latte is real. Machine oil latte, delicious, wonderful. Well, Mantra has a knack for keeping up with the latest gossip on the ship. As for Logos, I'm sure many on Rhodes Island still remember the dual racing competition. You weren't there, a shame, but yes, Logos organized that. They held the qualifiers in the workshop, then moved to the training grounds for the finals. The night before, Logos and Mechanus made some unapproved changes to the training grounds. When the contestants arrived the next day, they found themselves facing a grueling obstacle course with numerous sharp curves and slopes. I want to see this! This is adorable. Blaze was the first to be disqualified after melting her own wheels while trying to get a head start with heated air. Mechanus started full of confidence, but got swept off the course by his own contraptions. At the first U-curve, Misery, sitting lost in thought on his steadily moving stool, failed to take evasive action and took Outcast out of the process. This is so sad. They're all just getting attacked. Or not really attacked, but they're all just failing this race course. Hello. As the favorites dropped out one by one, Ace caught up with Logos and Scout in the lead, and the trio charged towards the finish line in a clump. That was when Amiya and Kelsey walked in. Ace immediately exited the course, but Logos and Scout failed to notice that the cheering crowd had suddenly gone quiet. Anyways, Logos won, Scout took second place, and there was no third place. Wow, okay. Under Kelsey's supervision, Amiya reprimanded the primary culprit, Logos, as Rhodes Island's leader for the very first time. The first person that she scolded, Logos. It's like, Logos, what are you doing? Ooh. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I'm happy that someone animated it. That's what our elite operators are like. Joining those weirdos is easier than people think. All you need is approval from Amiya and the elite operator council, and you'll get a small key giving you access to their workshop. One must pass through its doors to become accepted into their ranks. Each key is personally crafted by Logos and can never be taken from its owner. It serves as a personal token, and Logos is the first to know if its owner can never return. Whereupon, he commands the key to self-destruct, leaving no trace behind. Logos and all the other weirdos know well the toll their dream will exact upon them. Beep. So exclusive. Archive File 4. The vines of the past have tugged at Logos' feet ever since he set foot in Londinium. He knew that facing the sovereigns who chose to resist meant facing the history of Kasdal. A history that would reproach him, oppress him, and attempt to coerce the young sovereign who would deny the duty of his bloodline and try to destroy the seeds planted by Chuilon. The life or death battle he endured was a grueling trial, but he survived, and so did his ideals. Logos told us something he had once discussed with a doctor. Aside from pragmatic dangers, the Sarkas of Kasdal have long carried an inextricable curse, like a self-contradictory arts riddle. He used the example of a banshee's blinding curse to illustrate this. The quickest and most effective way to break the curse is to remove one's eyeballs, but of course that would simply result in permanent blindness. Those who have tried to save Kasdal from its predicament face the same dilemma. Anyone carrying the burden of history is inevitably crushed by it, but those who cast it aside can never paint the future the Sark has longed for. This revelation came not only from the twins of the heroic age. Logos had long been perplexed by Lacquer Maline's choice, trying and failing to answer why she had led the Banshees away from Kasdal without fully distancing herself from Kasdal's matters. Finally, he found the answer in Londinium. Lacquer Maline had left herself in the past when Logos left Kasdal with Babel. She had carved out cracks in the vines, waiting for Logos to find his own way to free himself from them. She always believed that his wisdom would exceed her expectations. History, however, does not wait for the Banshee to complete his theory. The actions of Rhodes Island and Londinium have brought turmoil to Kasdal. The failure of the military commission's forces and the fall of the sovereigns of the royal courts have reignited the embers of ambition. Even the liches leaving their temple for the first time in many years to maintain order may not be enough to prevent another civil war. The curse of history bellows unless those in power in Kasdal can bring the situation under control. Unless the ghosts of the past are allowed to die and the shackles be no more. The Banshee mutters, his bone pen floating by his side. Promotion record. A long time ago, when the young riverbed was not yet covered in waves, a lone traveler had lost his way in the Convalis. He sipped on dew and fed on dust until a beautiful Banshee appeared before him. Why do you not ask the sun where you should go, traveler? My eyes are ruined, and I wish not to gaze up at a foreign land where I may not dwell. Why do you reject the guide's invitation to lead you to a new home, traveler? He is the embodiment of lies. With his honeyed words, he stole my bag and my walking stick. You speak to me. Do you not fear my curse, that I would feed upon you? Sing the dirge for me, then. Let my hungry memories gaze upon home for the last time. No, wretched yet brave one, come with me, and let the song of the Banshees lend you the sight and heal your wounds. The enchanting mist kisses the traveler's lips and takes his hand, leading him into the depths of the Convalis. Dang! Lucky traveler, he got invited firsthand. And heck, his eyesight and wounds are even healed. Good for him! Wow. And yeah, That would be him in that case. It's like, you know what? Let the old men rest. Except for the one that Wizard was just gonna carry around. And ooh, fancy. 2 of them. Semantics Paradigm Encyclopedia. I love how blue it is. A book lies open on the table. Logo suggests his magnifying glass, trying to use his bone pen to write witchcraft onto the characters on the page. Every incantation he marks down will be magnified and projected onto a curtain by machines, then deciphered by Pith, who writes down its meaning and implications. These then pass on to a group of casters in the hall, who will try them out and discuss their effects. They started off as a hobbyist class for Rhodes Island's casters, but at some point it changed into a research group supporting Logos with his experiments. He was currently performing a pointless task, designing incantations for a book currently only available in Rhodes Island, the Semantics Paradigm Encyclopedia. Incantations that will ensure the correct meanings of the book's contents will appear directly in the minds of a reader. As languages are in the state of constant flux, he must pay close attention to how people from across as many different nations, races, and classes as possible comprehend the same words, constantly noting the differences between the original meanings of the incantations and how others interpret them. After an unending series of adjustments and revisions, the incantation is finally put to paper. Wow! He translated for everyone. That's so sweet. That is a nice book. I like that. Thus, his collection of casters in the hobbyist class, be they Ursus, Victorian, Sarcas, Feline, hidebound, academic, or free-flowing liberal, must first take a photocopy of the encyclopedia, read the enchanted contents, then cast the arts according to their understanding of the text. Through this process, Logos can capture the most minute differences between the understandings and perfect the incantations even further. Thanks to Pith's ability to unerringly duplicate and understand originium arts, Logos can rest assured that all transcription, correction, and instruction work can be left to his esteemed comrade-in-arms, allowing him to focus on the effects of the incantations within the tome. Based on the most recent test results, nearly all experiment participants who read the encyclopedia passage on applied incantations were able to accurately repeat the passage's contents and cast the arts described. The participating casters were over the moons with joy, but Logos did not share their happiness. There was still doubt in his mind about whether he had managed to truly achieve his goal, lossless transmission and meaning to everyone. I think he did well. The potential held by this little side project of his far exceeded his original intent of modernizing Sarkaz witchcraft. It has instead become some sort of attempt at creating an entirely new language. By writing with this infused script, the meaning you wish to pass on will not be easily misinterpreted. If everyone were to write like this, why information transmission could ideally be near lossless. Anyone reading a text 1,000 years in the future would derive the same exact meaning from it as a reader today. But when this project is complete, will it be able to destroy all barriers to using arts? Or will it serve as a catalyst of total annihilation? Or perhaps, even after all this effort, will he be forced to close the book and let it become some forgotten tome in the library? The operators who took part in this experiment came and went, and now he's the only one left in the room. As he lifts his pen to write more, he notices cracks in the bone from long hours of scribing. As the king of the royal court in a Sarkaz, he compiles Castel's very first great work, patiently awaiting the day there will be a great need for it. But as a member of Rhodes Island and a child of Terra, he imagines a time when the barriers between all living things are broken, a time when they grasp fate in their own hands. It is for this reason he researches and experiments, even if such a dream cannot be realized in the present. Ephaniel takes a new pen and begins his study once more. The dream yet lives in his heart and in the slender shaft of his pen. I love that. Oh, you know, cute. Holder and Logos teaming up for Holder's book. Having Logos make it so everyone can read it. Like, that would be adorable. Yo, the Sarkaz would have the best books in that case. Books that literally everyone can read. And now for the second one. A pen collection from the Convalis. Ooh, fancy. I like the one that's like in a little hook. And then there's the regular pen at the very end. Nightfall, the time Nathaniel had been patiently waiting for his come. He gently pulls aside the curtains of black silk, woven by his mother and the elders, around his small bed. He takes a while to get dressed, then quietly leaves the bedroom. He silently walks through the long stone corridor, across the open courtyard and road, and past the flickering candles and lights that stave off the darkness. On his way to the river, the oblique moonlight and faint firelight behind him cast a spattering of vague shadows around his feet. Everything around him becomes a part of the child's night adventure. During the day, when the sun's not hidden behind clouds, the banshees will take the young and carefree Nathaniel to wander through the valleys and fables. In the light, dappled woods, beneath the gaze of the towering mountains in the distance, they sing ancient epics and extol life's brilliance. Hey, hello. How's my day? Busy at work, but you know what's fine, it's Friday. Yay for not having to work till Monday. Like, phew. So many big boxes, so many chairs setting up. Just, lots and lots of physical labor, but it's fine. I'm just counting as my exercise. Nathaniel, clad in splendorous robes, dances to the songs of the elders. Through these cadences passed down from thousands of years, he hears the footsteps of ancient heroes on their faraway journeys and the breathing of new shoots as they sprout from the trees. His thoughts rise and fall with the sun. This land is an extension of the Convalis, home to laughter and melodies without end. A cry draws his attention and jerks him back to reality. On the other side of the river, several tusk beasts are dragging in a sissy beast into the forest depths. Vanishing before he can take a good look, he hears his own panting, along with several strange sounds mixed in with the gurgling of the river, as if something is being torn apart, then broken. It is a new language that Nathaniel had never heard before. It seems to contain certain emotions and connotations that he had never experienced, and it begins to fill him with confusion. Boy, that is a circle of life. Yummy. And yeah, basically got over my food poisoning, which is bleh. I'm just glad that I could still work through all that. I'm like, medicine. Work. He takes out the bone pen from his breast pocket, his birthday gift, and draws simple symbols in the air. They look like words, but are little more than scribbles. He has his own way of recording this new language. Our little hero's great adventure thus reaches its end. The young Banshee turns his head and sees the dresses of the Banshee elders fluttering in the night, shimmering with the silken strands they had woven themselves. Do you remember what we agreed upon, Nathaniel? I'm not to use arts while I'm alone. Wonderful. An older Banshee gently cups Nathaniel's chin and rubs his face with the base of her palm. Why then did you do what you just did? I want to understand what the sissy beast was saying just now. Nathaniel lowers his head, his right hand sliding behind his back as he grips his pen, gently pressing his thumb against its tip, as if trying to conceal it with his palm. If I could figure out what it was saying, would that have prevented it from being taken away by the tusk beasts? If I understood what it was saying, how it felt, would I have been able to help it and stop it from making that sad sound? I just wanted to know that someone cares. Oh, look at how innocent he is. He's a baby. That is sweet. Nathaniel recalls what he just seen. Confusion becomes pain, and from pain comes a wish. In an instant, everyone becomes quiet, and a breeze stirs. From now on, the great Banshee Lakura Maline breaks the silence and steps forth from the crowd. Our Nathaniel is free to go where he pleases and practice as he pleases. However, his mother continues, "It is now time to go to bed." Mother. Nathaniel approaches his mother, and her hand lovingly clasps his. The Banshees return the way they had come. Along the way, moonlight elongates Nathaniel's thin figure. They walk in silence, while the leaves of beech, fir, and pine trees rustle softly in the wind. Beneath the deep blue night sky and the misty gray clouds, the river quietly carries a floating light forward. like a crack of luminous light from a black valley, from which gentle pulse of courage emerges. I love how innocent little Logos is. The dang. His home sounds fun. Sounds very pretty. Can we visit? I wanna see. Visit, please. And now for Civilight Eterna. File. Basic info. Codename. Civilight Eterna. Gender female. Combat experience undisclosed. Place of birth Casdell. Date of birth June 11. Race undisclosed. Height 165 centimeter. Infection status undisclosed. Physical exam. Physical strength excellent. Mobility standard. Physical resilience excellent. Tactical acumen outstanding. Combat skill excellent. Origini Mars simulation outstanding. Teresa, you know you don't have to take these tests. I have to contribute where I can, you know. I'm just as much a part of Babel as anyone else. As anyone. And as you see, I have quite stellar scores, don't I? Extremely stellar scores. Profile. Teresa, founder of the nomadic city of Casdell, co-originator of the Military Commission of Casdell, creator of the Babel organization, and former head of state of Casdell. She spearheaded medical, educational, and urban infrastructure projects, led by the Sarkas in repelling multiple invasions, and personally raised the bar of diplomacy work during her time in office. She passed away during the Casdellian Victorian War. This personal file is stored in a database sealed by the Rhodes Island HR department. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests show the indistinct outlines of internal organs, obscured by abnormal shadows. Originium granules detected in the circulatory system. The subject is confirmed to be infected with uropathy. Cell originium assimilation, 17%. Blood originium crystal density, 0.29. Patient BLCD has risen steadily over the last 3 months, proposing curtailment of any originium-related work. Last logged, November 17, 1093. Logged by Kelsey. An old medical report that Kelsey always keeps in the locked top left drawer of her desk. Aw, she always keeps it there. Archive File 1, Classified Log. The war is over now. In doing what we can, Rhodes Island has accomplished the objective we set for it. I thank you for all your efforts, and Rhodes Island will commemorate everyone who gave their lives here. Waves from the Sea of Change in Victoria will soon be felt throughout all of Terra. We've passed the point of no return as plain as day. Once, Rhodes Island persisted in sidestepping any given nation's agenda. But as it stands now, it is no longer a role to be the perfect outsider. We must prepare ourselves for the changes that lie ahead. For the first item of this meeting, our verdict is rendered. Rhodes Island will not revive its Babel call sign. Wizardol had brought the name Babel back to Casdell, as well as Babel's founding goal, one imperceptibly yet definitively inherited throughout the years. I imagine Teresa would be delayed to see what we've achieved. We will continue to work with Babel, or should I say Casdell. That said, we will stay true to our original course and go ever further. Oripathy. No, not only Oripathy, but Originium itself. These are the issues Rhodes Island has always striven to solve. As our past will attest, our future will only see us grow firmer. Rhodes Island will not forget how conquering Oripathy has been our guiding star. It is in the first and foremost goal of ours, in fact, that we must meet the greater weight of its calling. Oh, you wonder how Kelsey and Amiya feel about Civilight Eterna? Yeah. Like, in a way she'll always be with them. But, oof. She's no longer there but a visage. I feel like it's comforting. Like, it must be comforting. We will fight for the future of these vast lands. Originium proliferates in a manner almost beyond control. We're likely to face an enemy beyond comprehension. We'll put every ounce of strength we have to the task, and steel ourselves to the prospect of sacrificing everything we have. All in all, Rhodes Island resolves Rhode Island resolves today to be ever more proactive in its interventions as we go onto all that transpires to endanger these lands. Yes, Teresa has left us forever. It was she who led the way in touting Babel's philosophy, but in her words, it was those at her side who lifted Rhodes Island to where it is today. It was everyone sat in attendance now, and everyone who fights on for the ship's future. If there is anyone still skeptical of the passing of this resolution, you have the following 10 minutes to submit your objection. Amiya, I understand. I know she's listening. As spoken by Kelsey at the Beep conference. Archive File 2, Log of Visit 1, Visitor Amiya. Miss Teresa? Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry for coming so late. I wasn't sure if I should bother you or not, but I still have so many questions. What exactly are you? I'm a program Teresa stored within Civilight Eterna for you. She left my highest user privileges. You need but keep the crown with you, and I will never leave your side. My physical manifestation exists sustained by Civilight Eterna, and has the power to protect you. Only you, and those who grant permission, can see me. You can try holding my hand, Amiya. Thank you. I can feel its warmth. I'm still a little confused. Should I be calling you Miss Teresa? I'm not sure how I should address you. Amiya, Teresa's gone. I have her memories, but nothing more. If you like, though, you can still call me Teresa. I'm sorry, I understand. We already said our goodbyes. I put away my unrealistic fantasies now. Yes, I remember. A reunion so fleeting could do little to fill the void left behind by those years of companionship. In our time to come, I will see your promise to protect you, though. To protect you through. Amiya. It tore Teresa so. Leaving you was your one and only regret. I've been so grateful, truly, to feel Miss Teresa's love for me. I've never once had reason to resent it, not at all. It's just... There, in space, she saw my past and everything that Rhodes Island had experienced since. But looking ahead, our path is still so long, and surely the list of places I'll go will only grow. There's still so much I want to tell her. And she won't be able to hear, will she? I'm sorry, Amiya. In that sense, I'm just as powerless as you. Is there anything else I can do for you? No, that's all, really. Goodbye for now. Good night. Sweet dreams, Amiya. Archive File 3. Log of Visit 4. Visitor Kelsey. Ooh! Kelsey's visiting now. Aw, thank you. Query. Celestial Fulcrum. In the 10,000 side real years of Civilight Eternal's extant logs, active celestial fulcrum signals were only transmitted from the planet's surface on one occasion. You are acquainted with what the planetary system's natives did. Ever since the curtains fell, it's been silent as the old stars, with the continent lifted by the shadow moon showing no signs of light whatsoever. And still, no word from the legacies of the past. The Preservator's sarcophagi remain silent. Further, the other two Originiums are buried deep where they belong. Their only trace is the occasional unsettling noise from the Southern Ocean's waves. Kelsey, these logs, and all of this Crown's data should be plain to you by now. Retrieving the same files again and again won't reveal any new possibilities. You look extremely worried. I need to check if Teresa's experiment has already had unanticipated repercussions. It pains me to say this, but even as Civilight Eterna, I still lack a way to log the internal fluctuations of Originium. You can see, can't you? Yes. Teresa found Civilight Eterna to come with limitations, but I assure you my current form can read all the data stored within. And you showed her this weight all alone, for all your interminable time. Oh gosh, 10,000 years of data. Ugh. 10,000 years. Eek. interesting though, like, in a way she is like a heroic spirit. At the same time, now she's kind of reminding me of like... how to describe it? Let's see. Because, you know, it says over here, 10,000 years she existed and was silent, and only now came to life. It's like, look! We have... Oh gosh. Okay, without giving... Like, sorry, spoilers to people who play FGO who have not done... like, Avalon yet. Teehee, but... kind of reminds me of, you know, how... we got our wonderful... well, I'm not gonna say the true name, of course, just in case. Without spoiling too much. Kind of reminds me of how, you know, our wonderful Tamlin Lancelot came to be. It's like, ta-da! Birth. Birth from the original body in a way. But same time completely different. Without, like, spoiling too much. And now where was I? Okay, there. You can see it, can't you? Yes. Teresa found Civilight Eterna to come with limitations, but I assure you that my current form can read all the data stored within. And you showed her this weight all alone for all your interminable time. Then I ask, would Teresa, now knowing all this, still choose hope? I'm afraid I cannot easily answer that. There's no simple way to sever one's personality from their knowledge. But I'm willing to trust that, knowing Teresa, she would marvel at how the breadth of dangers to Terra, the countless critical moments only a hair from collapse, have relentlessly remodeled the very land on which she lived. Indeed, this world's present manifestation is its own miracle, one that statistical probability has no chance of explaining. The more one comes to know the full picture of our world, the more the very word hope seems a kind of foolishness flying in the face of reason. You know better than anyone about the challenges... you know better than anyone the challenge in bearing your mission, and your choice to press on has never been contingent on hope. Hence why Teresa always trusted you and would stand alongside her. Or hence why Teresa always trusted you would stand alongside her. Aww. Cute. Yeah, I feel like Chapter 15 will add more to Kelsey, definitely. Especially since... oh, monster. Oh my, it's gonna be interesting seeing how Monster comes around like that. Meeting over. Please encrypt the contents of this conversation so as to keep the Doctor and Amiya from reading it, at least until the time is right. As you wish. While still alive on mission to Amiya, this is well in accordance with Teresa's original intent to protect her. You're right, Teresa. For all they could do, none would dare claim with certainty to change their own fated end. I hope that, from here on out, you can keep the Doctor and Amiya safe. Archive File 4, Log of Visit 11, Visitor the Doctor. Ooh, we're visiting now. It's surprising to realize, Doctor, how long you traveled with Rhodes Island now. You may call yourself just a passerby, but I'd still like to welcome you alongside us. I'll never get to see the epoch where you came from. I hear its people were free from the troubles of catastrophes and ripathy, and words and notions could be conveyed to one another in the blink of an eye. How beautiful past it must be. Still, I'm sure you see something or other in this great land, given your eagerness to return to a lone journey of 10,000 years and counting. Please, I ask that you continue to keep Amiya and Kelsey company. I have faith you'll learn to love this world anew, to choose hope and a future once again. Thank you, Doctor. As taken from Teresa's voice logs, last updated Jan 1, beep, at midnight. Teresa predicted this would happen eventually, Doctor. You questioning Civilight Eterna about Teresa, everything about her. You, out of either curiosity or remorse, wanted to know what kind of person she was, why she would rest such grave expectations on you of all people, and why you betray her like that. So she recorded these messages just for you. The answers you seek aren't in the past. You shouldn't trust surface appearances. You can look up every last piece of information on her here, but you'll never know the full her from that, just as you'll never know the full you from what others tell you. And as for you yourself, Doctor, this is all Teresa sought to tell you. You are her dear friend, her most trusted companion. Continue on your journey. It's only in your own path that you'll find the answers to her. And those will be answers to you too. Aww. We're her dear friend and most trusted companion. Ow, just ow. And hello, hello. Promotion record. Log of visit beep. Visitor beep. Weird. What's all this noise in here? Who plugs their personal instruction set into a public calculational? Who plugs their personal instruction set into public calculational and metrological reconstruction platform and filled with nothing but open project gate definition they forgot to delete? Scrubbing the redundant data out of an Originium is already frustrating enough. This project WD... Oh my goodness, does Project DWDB really need more people helping with the chores? Complaining doesn't solve anything. Just handle it and move on. This time slice is almost up anyway. Warning. Malicious routine detected. Threat to. No, hold on. It's you people. Are the project targets skewed too? Overriding permissions. Calculating structural integrity. Wait. I remember you. We've met before, haven't we? How amusing. You're like a creature who's just learned the use of Tinder, leaning on the clumsiest motions over and over until you finally leave a scorch mark on the land beneath, a sign that civilization was there. In the midst of all you puny organisms, you surprise me as a specimen. I may need to reevaluate this redundant data now. So, this is the hope you've chosen, Oracle. Oh my, I wonder who this visitor was that's looking at the data, huh? Yep, that's the vibe I'm getting too, Priestess. Yeah, especially with that ending. Like, oh, this is the hope you've chosen, Oracle. Oop. Well. Oh no, I'm just imagining her just like looking at us through Civilight Eterna's eyes too. She's just like, okay, so how's the doctor guys doing? Let me just hack into Civilight Eterna. Ah, so this is what the doctor's doing. Yummy. And hello, hello. Oh, this is adorable! Look at this, another story. Oh, little dolls of them. Okay, that is too cute. I love it. ND underscore DWDB underscore ready. New user underscore CE. Time data underscore 0106. Amiya is simple. Encoding and saving everything about her takes less than a byte of internal memory. I can even add Teresa's memories of her into the archive without changing the size of it. The data is hardly any different in magnitude to that of the equations governing how to reignite a white dwarf star. Accompanying her until her work is done will not be difficult. I can look after her and have everything to spare. But the look in her eyes when she looks at me, I need more data before I can analyze that emotion. Time data underscore 0344. Amiya had a nightmare while sleeping on her desk. I entered her dream to accompany her. It wasn't necessary to dispel the nightmare. Amiya had long been party to more horrifying realities. Conversely, she was very glad to meet me in her dream, and amidst an environment of terror, she told me with excitement about her recent life. But I was utterly familiar with every detail she shared, because I'd been by her side the entire time. My one failure was being unable to wipe that drool from the corner of her mouth. as she soundly slept, making waste of the documents she just signed. I am able to simulate any tactile sensation down to its temperature, but I will never be able to truly touch her. At least, I found a way to catch the doctor's attention, and we silently agreed to tidy up the small mishap ourselves before she woke up. By early dawn, Amiya and the doctor were giving each other their morning greetings, as they always had. Thank goodness the doctor never let the secret slip. Time data underscore 9032. Oh? Sure, for the talking trust. Time data underscore 9032. Kelsey discovered my intentions. She queried with me privately, emotionally tense, attempting to confirm whether or not Teresa still existed in some secret corner somewhere. But yet again, a disappointing answer was all she received. In my past several time slices, rarely have I disappointed anyone. Yet whenever I make contact with Kelsey or Mia, I'm all too helpless in many respects. Amiya confronted Kelsey at dinner that night. I pledged to Kelsey that I had not revealed anything to Mia, but they seemed not to care about that at all. What they cared about was that I was always there. Time data underscore 4978. I no longer attempt to pre-calculate Amiya's questions. I'm accustomed now to waiting for her to raise them, then attempting to slow down my calculation speed and think before offering an answer. I've analyzed the emotional matrices of nigh uncountable life forms. It has never troubled me, and yet I cannot deny that Amiya invokes in me a wholly new emotion. Is it because she is special? Or because I'm special? Could it truly be that the data of Teresa's memories impacts my logic routines? Sufficient time will inevitably yield an answer, and I am eternal. But I've come to grasp at least one thing. Amiya is simple. I've learned the look in her eyes when she looks at me. ND underscore DWDB underscore closed. Huh? How high are the privileges for these logs? Can't I query them? What are they even about? Some log data, Amiya, some stories about me and you. And they are mine and mine only. Aw, it's special to Civilight Eterna. That's cute. So far, these are all wholesome. Talk 1. Talk 2.
これからはアーミヤのそばにいるし、ロドスのみんなとも共に過ごすつもりよ。こんなことではとても過去の埋め合わせにはならないけれどね。ドクター、私は PRTS のようなプログラムではないの。
I like how she's like specifically talking to us.
笑ったりはするわ。
Talk 3.
ロドスは戦争を乗り越えたのだから、そろそろ元の航路に戻るべきね。
Optimizing our logistics.
始めたらどうかしら。会議室をいくつか開けて病室に改築するとか。私の意見が欲しいの？ドクター、言ったでしょ。私はテレジアではないわ。
Like, even if you're not her, it's fine. It's still good to have your opinion too, you know? And now for Trust 1.
アーミヤはやっぱり華奢すぎるように見えるわ。この年頃の子ならもっと背が高いものじゃないかしら。本当にちゃんとご飯を食べているの？
I feel like Amiya's height's decent.
どれだけこの子の今の姿を自分の目で確かめたかったか。少しでも長く成長を見守っていたかったか。本当ならそれは叶うべきことだったのに。
Trust 2.
ケルシーはやはり私と話をしたくないようね。この王冠に向かって質問をするときです。
Aww.
私の目を避けるの。
Seeing Civilight Eterna's too hard for Kelsey, huh?
過去を知っているから彼女が抱える孤独を理解できるのに枷を解いてあげることはできないの。ドクター、もしかしたらあなたならいつの日か彼女と一緒に生きる意味を見つけられるかもしれないわね。
And now trust 3.
ドクター、あなたの目にはいつも後ろめたさが見えるわ。だけど考えてみてちょうだい。そのものが誰であるかを決めるのは記憶なのかしら。記憶を失ったあなたと彼女の記憶をただ持っているだけの私の二人でどうやってあのわだかまりを解くというの。時間があるなら
Basically, it's better to live in the now and the future.
そばにいてあげて。
No dwelling on the past at this point.
困ったままなのは
Thank you, Civilight Eterna. Like, that's nice. I just have to do the tap real quick.
驚いた？
Oh no, so scary, boo!
あなたのことを見ているわ、ドクター。
Thank you for watching, Civilight Eterna. I still like that.
驚いた？
Like, did I scare you? Like, oh my, so terrifying. Wow. And now for Surtr. File. Basic info. Codename Surtr. Gender female. Combat experience 2 years. Place of birth unknown. Date of birth January 22nd. Oh wait, we did. Oops. Oh yeah, we did. The module. Heart of Sami. Oh my. Heart of Sami. Well, this is ominous already. Sami blesses and protects us all. It is everywhere and ever watchful over its children. Every tree, every blade of grass in its tundra is a part of it. And through them, it guides us. Even in distant lands, it reaches through these mediums to aid us in troubled times. So what do you say? A handcrafted Sami spirit stone? Even the great Argus bought one, you know. A certain incorrigible Sami peddler, a Surtr, amidst the heart of the blizzard, prepared to leave the Icefield steppes, Sami gave her a gift. Slowly, the sheaves of frozen runes revealed to her melted, crumbled, and the stone of crystal ice fell at her feet. As if compelled, Surtr picked it up and found it not nearly as bone-chilling as its look suggested. Even as the blizzard bathed it, it pulsed with a warmer rhythm, almost a familiar one, the rhythm of life. Such a familiar feeling. She looked at the sword in her hand, staring at the molten core within it. Bringing the crystal to her sword, Surtr could feel another self-stirring, a voice crying out, "Damn you, take the thing away! Get it out of my sight!" So Surtr, bought one of those locally handcrafted Sami pendants, discarded its useless rock, and replaced it with the crystal. She wound the rope around the sword's hilt. With every step forward, the pendant and hilt would knock together in rhythm, clank clank. This annoyed her other self greatly. Haughty yet powerless to resist. I love that. It's like, oh, this thing triggers you? You know what? I'm gonna keep it. I love it. Oh, that is too funny. Ooh. When we read Surtr's story in Sami, it was in the past. Meaning when she comes to visit Kazdo, the events that happened in her story was like a flashback. And IS5 is a continuation of that story. Oh my. In the back of her mind, Surtr couldn't help but laugh at it. She knew it was seething. She knew it was a seething, scorching sort, easy to irritate, hated cold things the way one might hate the sound of nails on a chalkboard. It was why she'd always loved ice cream, and all cold refreshments alike. Just a troll. Clank clank, Surtr knocked the pendant on the blade a few times, and it gave a few violent shakes in response, before settling down once more. The crystal's blue light bathed the blade's flame red, mothering it somewhat. Thank you, Sami. She could feel its blaze becoming wrath, increasingly unable to bear being slighted so, as if saying, "You fool! You would choose this most pathetic, most damnable of means to get back at me?" Nonsense! She never considered its minor griping a threat, with or without Sami's help. She's never seen her fiery powers as a blessing, nor has she ever felt restricted by the chaos that is her memory. Headstrong and self-centered, she disregards and cherishes as she sees fit. Fahrenheit fragment? Big deal. Just shut it in front of me. Wow. Just wow. Surtr, the audacity. I respect that. She funny. That I did not expect, but like all of this was so wholesome up until Surtr. Surtr just trolling. And now will we go back to more wholesomeness with Amiya? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Hi, bestie. Hey, bestie Amiya. File. Basic info. Codename Amiya. Gender female. Combat experience 3 years. Place of birth Rimbilton. Date of birth December 23. Aw, close to Christmas time. Race Courteous Chimera. Height 142 centimeters. Infection status. Showed physical signs of originium. Infection confirmed by medical report. Physical exam. Physical strength normal. Mobility standard. Physical resilience normal. Tactical acumen excellent. Combat skill standard. Originium arts assimilation. Beep. Profile. The public face of Rose Island and its top executive. Although Amiya appears to be a young and an inexperienced girl, she is universally trusted and highly qualified for her position. Amiya now leads Rose Island in fighting for the future of the infected, and striving to exorcise the dark shadow of originium from the land. Okay. Wait, skip these ones for now? Or just go for these ones still, like the file still? Cause yeah, I'll go for the caster and guard modules for sure. Like this should still be fine, right? Okay, just continue for this one though. Phew! Clinical analysis. Imaging tests for this operator showed blurry outlines of internal organs with visible unusual dark spots. Unusually high concentrations of originium particles were present in her circulation, indicating signs of infection and confirming her as infected at this stage. Cell originium assimilation, 19%. Beep! Blood originium crystal density, 0.27. Beep! What's with this redacted? Holy cow, that's a lot of redacted there. Class conversion record 1. According to the records, the saber wielded by the Sarkaz Lord, Kolam, was between 0.9 and 1.2 meters long, about 5 centimeters thick, and made of an unknown material, black in color, and bore a traditional Sarkaz inscription, which read, "Here the fighting stops." After succeeding to the throne, Kolam reorganized Kazdel and felt at that time in the west had been unkind to the people, so he led some Sarkaz tribes to the east, at which point he vanished from history. According to legend, Kolam had the power to rout his enemies without fighting. Wow. Some accounts say that Kolam's enemies suffered a weight several times that of other normal weapons when facing him in battle, finding themselves physically and mentally defeated. I love that. Oh, Kolan's another name for Chuilan. If they were lucky enough to survive, they were often maimed. But some refer to Kolam as an enlightened despo, saying that cuts from his blade drew no blood, and anyone wise enough to retreat would survive. However, some ancient texts claim that Kolam's saber was destroyed in battle before he even succeeded to the throne, and that the weapon he later wielded was a fragile illusion born of his arts. Such claims are inconsistent with Kolam's subsequent performance in Sarkaz conflicts. and few can explain why Colum would not recast his favorite sword under those circumstances. I speculate that Colum did have the power to shape weapons with arts, and this theory is centered on the throne, but that Colum rarely used his arts in that way, having once been an adventurer. Of course, it is written that after Colum's ascension, his saber gave off a greenish light, like a breath of flame. Colum's famous ferocity led to the blade being dubbed Wrathful Cerulean Flame. Most of the Sarkaz legends have been lost in the ongoing ruination of Kazdel, which has tremendously impeded historical research. There have been recent calls from Sarkaz scholars to restore their history, but their own research has been poisoned by propagandistic efforts to paint a noble picture of the Sarkaz race. Logos. Class conversion record 2. About Her Highness? You sure I'm the best person to answer that, Doctor? I'm just a simple boiler worker. Oh, it's the boiler worker again. What could I possibly know that the Doctor of Rhodes Island wouldn't? Oh, you want to hear what an average Rhodes Island Sarkaz thinks of the former king? We're standing pretty close to the boiler here, so you better sit by the fan while I have a think. Before Her Highness's reign, the king who ruled over Kazdel was named Ielis. He wasn't a brutal tyrant or nothing, but he didn't do anything impressive either. None of the royal court were loyal to him, but nobody rose up against him. And later, as we all know, there were a pair of mixed-blood twins in his court. One an armed bodyguard for the king, and the other a royal tailor. That's right, the general and Her Highness, exactly as you knew them. After Ielis' death in battle, they rose to the occasion and led the remaining Sarkaz in a counterattack. I still remember how the textbooks would describe it. Her Highness, not yet coronated, never laid down her needle and thread, weaving tactics and strategy with the other heroes. As the rapacious enemies surged into Sarkaz capital, they fell into a deadly trap. It wasn't easy living through such a bloody battle. Ielis met his death amidst the battle at Kelsey's hand and was forgotten, buried under a mountain of corpses. Oof. Just ouch. So dang, in the winter of 898, the Victorian Lithuanian Gaulish coalition allegiance began their crusade against Kazdel to overthrow King Ielis, and he was forced to the front line by the royal court to lead the Kazdelian army. Aww. There was this one Goliath warrior who found himself trapped under a pile of enemy corpses as he was dying, at least until Her Highness came to him. He saw her holding a faint ray of light, and she spun it on a colorless spindle to form a barely visible staff in her hand. His wounds mended, and his shattered limbs returned to their original positions. He'd never seen art like that, like a tailor darning life itself. While Her Highness was formally coronated, many cheered with joy, but others weren't too happy about it. The general chopped off the latter's heads. And for the next 2 centuries or so, Her Highness tried to heal Kazdel. Now, this is just a cliche, but the soil of Kazdel always being watered by the blood of the Sarkaz. Her Highness wanted to change that. As a king, she could do a lot of things, but there were always more that required her attention. Damn near never ending. When Dame Kelsey's at her side, she was able to personally save many lives, but Her Highness knew that in the time it took to save 10 lives, 100 would be lost. If she could save 100, there'd be 1,000 more she couldn't. And even the king was helpless to the face of Oripathy. For the first few years of the Civil War, more than a few people mocked her for leaving Kazdel. I've heard it plenty myself, but was never sure what to say. Their mothers safely gave birth to them in hospitals built almost 100 years ago, and they were taught in traveling schools established about 50 years back. That's the only reason they know fancy phrases like blind charity, lacking foresight, or falling to foreign influences. Sorry, Doctor. Caught me ranting a bit there. I don't dare guess what Her Highness was thinking back then, and I believe you, Amiya, and Dame Kelsey would steer the ship towards a brighter future. But sometimes, I wonder if the ship can really achieve Her Highness's dream one day. I believe. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. So many questions that I guess we'll find out in her other self. Okay, let's see, the crown. DWDB-221E. First, there are few indistinct silhouettes. Soon, a dazzling light. Gradually, the light grows distant and rises to the sky, leaving behind bright blotches. Not long after, these points of light themselves speed far away, and all that remains is a meaningless jet black. You remember those blotches are celestial bodies, every one. You remember the home of the stars is called the cosmos. Then immediately, your sight abruptly grows clear. Sleek metal, a sealed room, a clear window forms your third eye. Through the window, you gaze at the colossal gray sphere, and the center of the megastructure no normal mind could comprehend. It quietly awaits its birth father. You suddenly feel a kind of movement. A fluid wets your vision. You begin to seek this emotion's root. You see a child's birth. It is your child. A brand new fate, a soul entrusted. But against that yawning megastructure, how insignificant a life of such minuscule proportions it is. You return to the now, and gaze at those engineering ships, big and small. You, a mathematician, quickly make a ridiculous comparison. Even the smallest ship among them is thousands of times bigger than an infant of mankind. But you've all done it. Starting from the antiquity of antiquity. Starting with fire or hunt, you've come all this way to today. You're immensely proud. By some mysterious mechanism, you feel this pride as if it's yours. Upon which more information pours into your mind. You remember your own identity. You realize that you're the designer of that artificial satellite. After such a long journey in subspace, you finally greet the moment of its completion with your very own eyes. Honor, wealth, family ideals. Such vocabulary flickers elusive, hovers, dissipates, and in the end, there's left one and only one. Future? What did you see? Hey, respond, hey! All present lapse into silence. A young woman to the side wails with urgency. Examine his brain. I told you we shouldn't have been so hasty. We only just set up protocol channels to database comms. This is only your first recorded successful transmission. I'm sorry. Wait, what are you saying? I mean, I never used to be too fond of your planetary engineers. I always felt your work was all style, no substance. But I saw it. I saw your past. I shared in your past. I felt your emotions. It was like nothing else. Yes. I felt you reminisce, like an ordinary father, about your children and your home. I saw that artificial moon, astonishing as anything, and the sensation. It's beyond all imagination. We've done it. Once again, everyone is silent. So, the one to break the silence is a fairly young, red-haired lady. How will it record our epoch, and the epochs to come? As an omnibus of idiocy, I assume. Someone responds thoughtlessly. We've had quite enough ourselves, but from here on out, none of them will ever find another excuse to embellish history. Have a little more faith in mankind, friends, says another, elderly, who simply sits down and shuffles herself into a comfortable position. We've drawn enough lessons already. Our progeny won't be repeating our blunders. Some chuckle bitterly. It is, of course, no more than a beautiful wish. So, we've definitely succeeded. Project DWDB-221E has borne fruit so quickly. My god. With no warning, a curly-haired person springs to his feet. Are we always going to call it DWDB-221E? I know, project numbering following regulation formats. Cold nomenclature. Just like me with Amma. Amma. But our work deserves a more dignified official name. Once again, he throws out the proposal he hadn't relented on for more than half a year now. I want to call it Destiny, or maybe Truth of the World. The ensuing silence is now an awkward one. How about the Black Crown? In terms of an intuitive visual impression of parts of its appearance, it does resemble a crown, after all. Not a fan. That one sounds like something... I mean, that one sounds like some boring historical drama. Too late. In that case, the elderly woman interrupts her subordinates before they embroil themselves in yet another endless dispute. She gazes out at the stars beyond the window. Some unwelcome information is arriving, but humanity will ultimately overcome this hardship, just as it has countless of times before. I have a proposal. We should call it Civilight Eterna. Both. We got Black Crown and Civilight Eterna. Dang. Huh. Yeah. I guess technically Amiya would know about the priestess guys. Like, oh my. Unless Civilight Eterna is, like, keeping that confidential. Because Civilight Eterna is with Amiya all this time. So maybe it's like, you know what? We're gonna put some restrictions for now for Amiya. Unless Civilight Eterna's just like, nah, you can see all this, Amiya. It's fine. Go ahead, girl. Otherwise, dang. Oops. Took that off again. But not conversion. Oh gosh, what's the difference? Which one is the one? Oh man, I don't ever touch this one. Okay, the sword-looking one. Oh, okay, guard, caster, medic. So yes. Ta-da! Oh, look at Amiya. Our precious bestie. Ooh, fancy. Anger to be tuned. Amiya reached for her pajamas and pulled back, remembering there was one last thing to do before bed. She sat back at her desk, gave her pen a shake. It hadn't been writing too well lately, and pulled out a blank piece of card. Damage article number 037. Damage article name, violin. So she wrote. She was meant to describe it further, but it was just too ordinary. Its wood was bottle tree timber. It's kind you'd see everywhere in Billiton. It was her 6th birthday present. Aw, she had that. For her 6th birthday. Her mom used to take her hand in hand and teach her how to play. Oh, I didn't know she could play the violin. Along with all the funniest rhymes for how to keep her position straight. Not that she could really remember them now. The only words of advice she could still recall were, playing the violin isn't about bowing whatever way the sheet tells you to. It's about painting your own feelings onto the strings. Dang though, you know that's actually a good point. Was Amiya's family well off in that case then? Yeah, imagine getting a violin for a 6-year-old. For their birthday present, like dang. Aren't violins expensive? Though that just means they really loved Amiya, that's cute. And Amiya had tried, but the violin wouldn't sing with clear melodic tones, just shrieks and wails. And wait, violins aren't that expensive? Okay, never mind then. One string violently twisted and flinched, like it was cowering in a customs inspection line, hiding with apprehension as deep as possible in the crowd. As if doing that would somehow escape the contrast scanning gate at the queue's head and the shrill alarms that it would inevitably set off. Another string began to shrink away as fast as it could, like it'd been shoved headfirst into a team of miners, left to shiver and curl up into a ball. Anything to conserve what little heat was left, to get just that tiny bit further from the bloodstained whips. The third string looked like it was going going mad as active originium dust glittered in the air, compounding the abandoned warehouse's smell of blood and rot to form a stench that no human could possibly bear. This violin is turning so ominous now. The final string sat amidst sharp animalistic cries and screamed, "Why? Why? Why?" And no string could answer that question. Coming back to her senses, each of the violin strings had snapped under tension, and its body had been scorched a cerulean black. Like, dang! Hey, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Maybe they got it for discount because it was a cursed violin? Oh, that'd be great. Hello, hello, welcome. Thank you for the raid. I hope your stream went by well. And you know what, true, in the Terra world, where the heck would you even buy a violin? So dang, Amiya's family must have traveled. Or they just bought a cursed violin as one does, you know, at a discount. Potentially. Cause this is just ominous. Amiya tied the filled out card around the violin's neck and laid the broken instrument into the box with the greatest care. Many other things were in there too. The doctor had caught an originium slug while out on a trip and fashioned its shell into this whistle. Ah, we made a originium slug whistle. Wonderful. Look at us with our arts and crafts. And Miss Teresa had knitted this hat that made such a funny sound when you pulled on it. I want to see the hat. And Dr. Kelsey had personally engraved this monitor band with animal motifs for her. They all carried those cerulean black scorch marks, and now they laid in this box, waiting until they saw the light of day again. When the flames of wrath across the land have quelled, Amiya thought subconsciously, when the nameless wrath whirling in her chest is no longer there to burn them. But when would that be? Would she be there to see it? She had no idea. Just before she closed the lid, she caught sight of a tiny little dent made in the violin's side. Not a scorch mark. She remembered. It was made just after she got it. She had thrown the bow of the violin because she could never play it in tune. She left that mark out of anger. Dang, Amiya. Wow. Denting your violin. So angry. Amiya laughed. The wrath whirling in her chest might be nameless and senseless, but this little speck of almost petulant rage was one she was all too familiar with. It was one she could understand, one she could keep in check. She saw her little self puffing her chest out and telling her mom, "I know what anger is now." It's when you can't figure out why things never go the way you picture them. I can hear all the music notes in my head, but all I can do is make a silly mess out of it. So she would try and try again, until she'd never play a bum note again, until she'd never get angry about her own clumsiness again. Little Amiya promised her mom she'd never smack her bow on anything again, because it wouldn't solve a thing. And so, Amiya took the ravaged violin out of the box. Maybe tomorrow or the day after, she mend it, and then try to play it once more. Yeah, let's choose an appropriate response for a 6-year-old with a violin. She's like, "Violin? I thought you meant violence." Oops. Oh man, I wonder if little Amiya would be the type to like flip a table if she lost a board game. If she's the type to be like, "Why don't you play the notes I want to hear?" Hit. Like, dang, Amiya. Well, now she's learned. I did not expect that for her module. That's kind of cute, learning more about little Amiya. I want to know more about her family. What an interesting present for a 6-year-old. A violin. Just wow. Okay, for the last batch, Enos's module ended up being the cutest to me. I'm happy we got to hear more about her and Hodor's store. Like, it's a shame that it got trashed, but you know, they're fine. They're setting it back up together. So cute. So precious. Though Amiya was the one I was most excited for because Amiya's bestie. But in the end today, the one that I actually liked the most was Logos. Like, I want to know more about Logos' homeland. Like, it sounds beautiful. The way they described it was so picturesque. So fancy. And I wonder how that one traveler's doing. The one guy who's just like, you know what? Come with me, boy. Or come with me, dude. Let me heal your wounds and eyes. I wonder if he was allowed to stay there. If he was, then dang. He must be like, you know, this is paradise. Like, hello, beautiful banshees taking care of me. Like, woohoo! Oh, okay, and a flashback. Now we gotta travel more. I want to see more. And clear images of the other banshees. Dang. And then Surtr's was the funniest. Overall. Just because I love how she's just trolling. Like, oh, you don't like cold stuff? Well, I'm just gonna keep the heart of Sami right next to you. Teehee. I love it. Yeah, find a map of it. Like, if we ever get isekai to Terra, we can make a beeline for the Banshee land. As one does, you know? Aw, yes. Oh, it's gonna be fun starting the Furnace Fables tomorrow. Oh man. Let's see how insane these endings end up being. But no fear, no pain. And then eventually starting chapter 15 will be fun. Like, monster, please. The next time I summon for monster, I'm gonna buy a bunch of monsters. Just because I'm gonna be like, monster, look. Monster, look, I got you some catalysts, some monsters. Unless she doesn't like them, and then I'll cry. I'll be like, monster, why? Monster, please. Like, monster, would you like original monster? Would you like a sugar-free monster? Would you like a monster rehab? Specifically, maybe the green tea one because you're green-ish. I'm just gonna get her color scheme, now that I think about it, yes. All the color scheme. Like, dang. Surtr needs her scream time somewhere. And she decides to do it on integrated strategies, as one does. Like, good for her making it there, of all places. Like, heck, even Mizuki. The oh my goodness, the Mizuki ending. That one just hurts the most. All pain, all fear. But no, it's fine. The woohoo! I'm prepared for tomorrow. I'll make sure to get my nap before then, set my alarms and everything. So teehee. I feel good for the day. And heck, Mom was messaging me during stream. I didn't even look at her messages yet. She probably wants me to come out, so I'll be good. Cause I think Uncle Grandma guys might be over. I'm not entirely sure. I'm bad, I'm not checking my messages. I see them appear in my phone, but I'm just like, swipe, swipe. I wanna read. I got my priorities in check, clearly. But now I'll be good now. So with that being said, thank you everyone for stopping by the stream. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day and epic gacha luck. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Sorry, Mom.